This young and highly accomplished professional actually commands great footfalls at any event he's slated to speak at. And that's because he freely shares invaluable insights from his 16 years of consistent high performance in the marketing, sales and partnerships domain with leading consumer-centric brands within OTT, media and CPG, and of driving platform growth and monetization. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and this is The Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. And the young master I just referred to is someone whose many accomplishments include his work with the launches and growth of Hotstar and Voot respectively. These, remember, are two of the top 3 OTT platforms of India. I'm referring to, and I have here with me, Akash Banerji, Business Head, Voot Advertising Video Platform, or Voot AVOD. Akash, welcome to the Master's Voice on Mediabrief.com.
Hi Pavan, it's so amazing to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Welcome Akash, and thanks for your time and attention today. And in fact, first and foremost, congratulations on Voot racing to 100 million monthly active users who have consumed more than 100 billion minutes of video, Akash?
Yeah, 100 billion minutes of watch time in a year. And do remember, 1 billion is 1,000 million. So you can do your own math.
And so that's quite a lot of average time spent.
Yep, absolutely. I think we are absolutely humbled. The trust that consumers have shown by spending their precious time on our platform. All I can say is that it's a humbling experience for us.
Wonderful. So that's going to be an important part of our podcast and will make for a really interesting and insightful story, Akash. But allow me first the pleasure and privilege of introducing you to those of our listeners and readers who just might not know about you, just in case. So, Akash Banerji is a launch specialist and a turnaround expert who launched Voot in May 2016 as the premium digital video on-demand platform, clocking spectacular platform engagement numbers and driving high acquisition numbers. I just told you about some. So, Akash led the impactful marketing launch of Hotstar before that, the app leading to the fastest adoption of a digital service anywhere in the world. And prior to that, Akash also drove the highly impactful marketing of the launch of the new Star Sports Network way back in November 2013. So young veteran indeed. Akash, your specialties are OTT, consumer acquisition, performance marketing, platform growth, revenue partnerships, digital strategy, platform engagements, DAUs and MAUs, data analytics, technology evangelizer, that's what he is, a communications development expert, very high on consumer understanding, brand development, channel understanding and motivation, P&L responsibility, sales target setting and implementation, media planning, media selling, equity development, strategy and setting of pivots, business development, etc. Wow, a lot across an eventful and successful 16-year career so far. So Akash, let's first speak about the wonderful success of Voot, which reached 100 million monthly active users. How did that come about? What was the strategy? What were the initiatives you took to make that strategy come true as it has?
Firstly, you keep on referring to me as a young veteran. I'm not young anymore. Secondly, the whole list of expertise that you spoke about, thanks for mentioning all of that. But I think at the core, I'm just a pure consumer-centric professional. I think everything that I do and anything that I do pretty much emanates from what consumers want. Not what men want or not what women want, but what consumers want. And I think this is what has been my journey for the last 16 years for having worked with direct-to-consumer, or as they say, D2C businesses.
Quick reminder, you're tuned into The Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot AVOD. Stay tuned. And we are back.
Well, moving to Voot. Look, 1 year back, we were hovering at about 40-50 million user base, monthly active user base. And we very clearly set this ambition for us. What will it take to drive massive scale on our platform? Having said that, I think we were also very, very cognizant of the fact that getting a user in is the easy part. Getting him to stay on the platform and getting him to watch videos and invest time in watching content on a platform again and again is the harder part, right? And I think when we talk about this new milestone that we have reached of 100 million user base, that has to be seen in conjunction with the amount of time, with the watch time that they've also consumed. Because getting a user in, what we have all realized in the app world, 90% of the users actually uninstall the app by day 30, right? So just getting a new user acquisition in is not the real story. In fact, it's truth half told. Getting a user from web, which is so-called cheap traffic or bot traffic, is again very, very easy. It comes in at 1/10 the price of the cost of acquisition of an app. And hence, for us, the foundation was very clearly focusing on 3-4 different things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think engagement is really important, and I know that out of about 500 odd million, which is like the guesstimated user video viewer base, only about maybe 10 million give you about 20 million odd subscriptions in the country.
Absolutely.
So essentially it's getting them in and keeping them engaged, and then amongst the engaged ones and the active ones, you got to make sure that you have a higher number of as high a percentage of active subscribing people, and not really doing the TVOD kind of stuff but staying on. So what were the various things that you on strategy that you decided were the most important building blocks, or were going to be the most important building blocks, and how did you achieve this 100 million monthly active users?
Look, at the fundamental level, it was all about offering content that would get audiences at scale coming onto a platform, but just not any content. Quality content, and I break the quality content into 3 distinct pieces.
Yeah.
Big blockbuster content that gets you a lot of new users in. Content which is in the form of drama, fiction, romance shows, which is a non-reality content that drives massive consumption. And of course, third part being huge impetus and focus on vernacular content. So each of these 3 content pieces or categories of content has led to getting in a lot of diverse audiences coming onto our platform. And just to give you a very interesting nugget on that, we are the only digital platform in this country, which has close to 50-55% audiences that are female, as opposed to digital category, which sees 60-65% actually coming in from males.
Yeah, right. Average around 45%.
Yeah,
women,
for 45%, not more than that.
Correct.
But
Correct.
we double down on offering content and making that content available, discoverable to them in such a seamless manner that female audiences come and they also stay on our platform. And we all know females are much more loyal as opposed to men. So all the females who we acquired onto our platform to watch our content, they ended up sticking, they end up getting retained onto our platform.
Correct. So the big Pascal's bell, frankly, the blockbuster is really the most expensive piece of content.
Absolutely.
And which doesn't really come with the kind of ROI. It's more like an investment to keep people coming and cross-promote the other kind of slightly lower cost content which the females will consume.
100%. So if I were to look at my split of new consumer acquisition, 65 to 70% comes in from the reality shows, right? Which is your so-called mass, which is so-called big blockbuster content, and we have enough and more of it. We are the kings of reality in this country. We have Big Boss Hindi, Big Boss Kannada, Spitsvilla, Khatron Ke Khiladi, Rising Star, Dance Divane, the whole slew of reality shows. These shows get us close to 70% of new users at any point in time in the month, right?
And high engagement levels at first consumption also.
Yes, absolutely. But it's the entire roster of my drama shows like Silsila, Bepana, Nagin, right? These are the shows which drive close to 70% of my consumption. So content categories, both operating from the top as well as the tail.
Correct.
Right?
On your tail front, I think it's tier 2, 3 and
and together these 2 categories of content, which is your reality content and your drama content, have led to a scenario where more than 60% of our users now are actually coming in from tier 2 and tier 3 market.
Quick reminder, You're tuned into The Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot AVOD. Stay tuned. And we are back. So Akash, what about the vernacular markets? How are they shaping up for you?
Absolutely. Look, Pavan, you're aware of it. The story of vernacular now has been told a teen number of times now.
Nice.
I would just say one thing. In our head, what I'm telling my team is to stop categorizing this vernacular content under the head of calling it as a regional content and seeing it as a separate category altogether.
Okay.
Because regional for us is now mainstream.
Wow.
Regional is the new national, right?
Wonderful.
We cannot be seeing it separately,
Right.
right? We have seen a spectacular 4x growth in our vernacular content, right? And a lot of interesting things that we have done. But let me just highlight two important things.
Okay.
A lot of our content, regional content, comes in from our broadcast TV channels as a part of Viacom 18, right? But
you all don't only just give it as catch-up content. You add a lot of bells and whistles.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a whole host of things. We create a lot of your unseen undekha, a lot of exclusive clips. In fact, a lot of those in our floor, we call it CAC, content around content.
Wow.
In fact, that content contributes close to 40-50% of the total consumption of a certain show, right?
Isn't the mainstream your main
full episodes
channel?
Yeah.
Doesn't that get tempted to say, hey, give me some of this?
Look, I think as an organization, I think Sudhanshu is our CEO. He's very, very particular about the fact that we are here to build fandom for our shows.
Right.
Regardless of which screen they are watching it on. Right?
Yeah.
So if there is a big fandom of Bigg Boss, whether a consumer is watching it on TV, on a mobile screen, on a connected TV, or on a desktop, that doesn't matter. We are here to fan the fandom of our content. Right?
You know something?
Yeah.
I know that a lot of my friends who watch Bigg Boss, I mean, I've got sucked into it also. I've always been watching it as also an industry professional.
I'm very happy about that.
I've been watching it and as an industry professional and keep tabs on all the best content that's running. And I realized that the fun of watching Bigg Boss is watching it together. So when the main episode is airing, I'm sitting with my wife and my two kids, children, and we are watching it together. And we all have our views, why is Siddharth acting like this and why is Shahnaz being so stupid or this, that or the other, whatever.
Yeah.
But that engagement which is offline is solid, okay?
Yeah.
At the same time, if I wanted to watch something else, you have it for me to watch on the go.
Right.
But then, when we used to promote primetime television shows, we would never promote the afternoon repeats. We only wanted to sell one primetime slot.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening here. So the actual episode is right there, bang on the television, which people can watch together. But on the go, I have additional content, the CAC as you put it.
Look, the thing is this,
really a great
Pavan,
strategy.
So Pavan, you are a very happy man that you and your wife have similar taste. Okay. Unfortunately, in this country, where 90-95% plus households are single TV households, different members of the family, they have different needs, they have different tastes, and they have different interests altogether. You might want to watch Bigg Boss. Your wife at that point in time may be interested in seeing something else, right? And this is what a handheld device, a mobile screen, which is a personal screen, which is a personal device, actually allows you to do so.
Right.
To help you to watch what you want to see.
Correct.
Right? And this is not specific to Voot, but this is specific to the entire category itself.
On the go, yes.
Right? So just coming back, just to finish off what we were talking about, the regional part, one of the big things that we did in one of the language markets was the Telugu language. Now we don't have a Colors Telugu as a TV channel over there. What we did, however, was something very, very interesting and something that was done in this category for the first time. Okay. We launched Colors Telugu as a channel exclusively on Voot, without any presence of a broadcast being there.
Wow.
We had our own slew of movies, slew of shows, originals, dubbed content, all of it together, and we launched Colors Telugu under the banner of Voot Telugu as a part of our offering. And we all know AP Telangana and the Telugu as a language is one of the top 3 languages in this country where there's a massive consumption and huge monetization potential, right? So that was one. The other big thing is interactivity, right? Which is second screen viewing, which is your voting, which is your fantasy league, which is your play along that can keep on happening along with the shows that you're watching either on TV or even on a mobile screen. For the longest time, we had been executing and implementing a lot of these interactivities only on our Hindi reality shows. Okay. But in the last couple of months, what we have done is we have made interactivity possible across our leading language shows as well. And what this has done is that regional language is now contributing close to 25% of my entire platform. And not just that, my monetization today on the back of regional language is close to 22-23%, which mirrors the consumption contribution as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I think for me, that is what gets me going. Right?
Absolutely.
That is what gets me going. That look, eventually we are here to build a business, right?
Absolutely.
I'm not here just to keep on aggregating more and more time spent, more and more users without necessarily having the ammunition to be able to monetize that.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And the heartening thing is that we bet big on vernacular and that has already started paying rich dividends to us.
Wonderful. Quick reminder, you're tuned into the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot AVOD. Stay tuned. So you mentioned when I asked you about the various things that actually help Voot get its to its 100 million MAU milestone. One was content. Within that, you gave me three parts to it. You spoke about also the way you're monetizing and the way regional offerings have actually proven everything right, and it's come to a beautiful full circle.
Absolutely.
Monetarily.
Yeah.
So what are the other things that you all did?
So two other big highlights that I would like to talk about. One is our partnerships. Right?
Okay.
In this market, in today's era, I think we've all realized that if you try and do the entire heavy lifting on your own, okay, you'll be left alone. You'll be stranded in the middle of an island, right? This is the age about closely collaborating with varied multiple partners.
Absolutely. And what kind of partners are you talking about?
So there is one category of partners which are your pure play distribution partners.
Okay.
Right? What do I mean by that? For example, connected TV. Right? I come back home when I have access to a connected TV and I wish to see my favorite content on a big screen. The app needs to be available on that TV.
Correct.
So connected TV, there are 4 or 5 really big players in this market today. Me TV, LG, Samsung, Sony and TCL. They pretty much garner 80 to 90% market share.
Okay. And are you present on all of them?
And now we are present in all of them.
Wonderful.
And all of this heavy lifting has now happened in the last couple of quarters itself.
Excellent.
Right? So that's one. The other is pure play devices and sticks. So something like a Fire Stick.
Correct.
Right? More and more users are now watching content on different sticks. You need to be available.
Okay.
Right? Partnerships with telcos.
Correct.
More and more consumers are now also watching content on the video ecosystem that's prevalent or that's now available in the individual telco networks.
Okay.
Right? What we did with each of these platforms is that we have made our Voot service available to these partners through API. Okay? So it's not a syndication, it is not a licensing deal.
Correct.
It's I'm making my service available to them. What is it that they gain out of it? What these platforms are looking for is one thing and only one thing, that is engagement.
Correct.
Right? And engagement comes on the back of videos and content. Right?
And
they don't have
of data.
Consumption of data. Right? What they are getting is content. Right? What I'm getting is increased reach. Right? More the reach, more the inventory gets made available for me, and hence more monetization possibilities and opportunities for me. Not just that, we also tied up with other content platforms like Flipkart Video an e-commerce platform that's getting into video, looking for great quality content. We tied up with them. MX Player, which just got launched recently, looking for great quality content. We tied up with them, right? So there were these 15, 20 odd partner networks with whom we have now collaborated closely, right? Where we make our Voot service available through API, right? And that's driving increased reach and increased monetization potential for me.
And in a very native format.
In a very native
device.
Yes, on the specific device itself, right? So that's on the partnership.
Quick reminder, you're tuned into the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot Avod. Stay tuned.
The other piece, purely from a monetization point of view, was our launch of Voot Studio.
Right.
Yeah.
That's going to help you a lot with your creating of the AVOD content.
Absolutely. Bang on. We announced the launch of Voot Studio last April, and we said we will get into the market and we'll take some baby steps in creating something good out of it. Okay. Now, at a fundamental level, what does Voot Studio do? So there are three different categories of advertisers.
Right.
There's an advertiser which has the expertise to create a 30-seconder TVC.
Right.
Okay. With the help of the agencies.
Correct.
But it knows that in today's market, a 30-seconder TVC ad is of no value.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's like long form content.
Absolutely. Right. If you are unable to bunch in your brand messaging in the form of a story, the consumer is not going to see it. The consumer is not going to absorb it. Right? It is seen as something that comes in as an obstacle.
Like the Facebook videos. I mean, I'm naming Facebook because it's an experience everybody knows.
Yeah.
And you're watching something very interesting and it's actually a soft story or a dramatic piece at a high point. Suddenly you get some crappy video saying, this, that and the other. So it's a big irritant.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want you to comment on Facebook. I'm just saying that.
No, I'm just saying we all need to make money. Yeah, we all need to make money.
Correct.
Yeah, but then how do you sell your brand story?
Right.
With an element of storytelling.
Correct.
Right?
And belonging in the main narrative without intruding into it.
Yeah, without intruding into it.
Like in a native fashion.
In a very, very native fashion. So there was this one set of advertiser.
Right.
There was a second kind of advertiser which had a story. They had commissioned some work with some production house or with some agency. They got the video content, but they don't know where to host it. Right. Because they all eventually realized if you just put it on some random platform without that getting promoted, it is not going to get seen.
And you might end up in some brand unsafe environment.
Right? We live in a world of clutter.
Yeah.
If it's not seen, if it's not pushed, if it's not promoted, it's not going to get consumed.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
The third kind of advertiser is someone who doesn't have any expertise in creating any kind of a video creative. Whether it's an ad or it's a story. Right?
And so enter Voot Studio. And what happens here is that you create the content in the other platform.
And Voot Studio, there comes in Voot Studio, addressing the needs of each of these three categories of advertisers. To the first advertiser, we say, you have an ad? Great. Using this brand core messaging, I'm going to help you create a story. To the second category of the advertiser, I tell him, you have something, let me host it. And to the third category of the advertiser who doesn't have any expertise, I tell him, I'm going to do the entire legwork for you, right? We create the video, we host it on our platform, we connect the right kind of audience with the right kind of content, we play it, we publish it on our social media channel, which has a huge fan following. The fan following is in excess of millions, in double-digit millions. And we leverage our influencers, which are a part of the network. Right?
And these are organic influencers.
These are all organic influencers. So we create video, we publish the video, we promote the video, we get the right kind of audiences. We also push it outside our platform using our social media channel. We also get our influencers and we get the machinery running up and above.
Akash, I was just thinking that actually what you have as an offering for a brand and its marketer to take that message out is really very strong and very focused. Yeah. You have the production arm, and it's not just a production arm, it's a creative production arm. Yeah. And secondly, you could tell them that this is your brand personality, this is your message and the story. I think across my 24 hours, and even if I look at the wakeful hours and the high consumption hours, I have 3 or 4 really good properties where we could place this in a way that after about say 15 minutes of video play out, when this comes in, it comes in smoothly, it goes out after its 30 seconds and the viewer is not irritated. Yeah. So you can actually give them the whole one-stop shop, impactful creation and placement and service.
No, absolutely, Pavan. And you know what? When we are creating the video content for these advertisers, correct, there is also this complete ownership on our part to ensure that this specific content piece, gets amplified in the best manner possible across multiple platforms.
Quick reminder, you're tuned into the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot AVOD. Stay tuned. This wonderful story of how you went about getting to the 100 million active monthly users mark. I think now I understand why your LinkedIn profile says, and I quote, working to bring brand, data, tech and content together to drive 10x growth. That's a strong statement and tells me you aren't afraid to put your money where your, words are. What numbers are you seeing or setting your sights on by end 2020, if you can share them? And what is it that you have not tried so far in this journey to 100 MAU that you're inclined to check out in your journey ahead to increase the active users and time spent and video consumed?
Yeah, my father used to say something to me. He used to say, well begun is half done, right, and all's well that ends well.
Correct.
Okay, and I still remember these words. And I strongly believe and feel that our journey of building Voot as a premium video platform in this country and across the world has only begun. Okay, right, I think there are miles to go before I can certainly sleep. So, having said that, I think there's a lot of work that we need to do. One from a business point of view and the other from a product point of view. I think let me take the second one first.
Yeah, and just to remind you, this is about Voot.
This is about Voot, right? On the Voot product side and tech side, I think helping consumers discover the right content as per their choice and as per their taste and needs is something which has become extremely critical. We live in a world where time is the most precious commodity,
and convenience.
Right? And convenience, right? If I go onto a platform and if I am unable to get access to those 1, 2, 3 different content pieces which will appeal to me, which will appeal to my taste, to something that I wish to see at that point in time, either something that I already wish to see, that I've already decided upon, or something new that I've not made up my mind on it yet. On both the use cases, okay, if I'm unable to help and discover that, okay, that moment is gone. And hence, huge amount of legwork and heavy lifting still needs to be done on the back of our impetus towards driving better personalization, driving recommendation which is absolutely customized, not even at a segment level, but at a user level.
Correct.
I just cannot say, okay, this is a reality segment. There is a segment of 100 users who love to watch reality shows. Okay, this is almost like saying that each of those 100 users, their behavior, their attitudes, and what they wish to see and what they do not wish to see is absolutely the same. That's not the case.
Not at all.
Right? So recommendation at a user level. Fortunately, or maybe even unfortunately, recommendation
using machine learning, using a lot of incisive data and insights is always a journey.
Right.
There is no destination.
Correct.
Right? Because
it's like an amoeba, keeps evolving.
absolutely, you have hit it bang on the nail. Right? It is something that you have to keep on learning every day. Because the problem is that the user and his mindset and his taste is also changing constantly. Right? It is not static.
Correct.
Right? So that's something which we are very, very deeply focusing on. And one of the big steps that we have taken to be able to achieve that is gradually building a huge self-reliance from a tech side. Okay. Building an in-house tech team. We've already built an in-house tech team that's based in Bangalore. If we have to compete with the big international tech majors, I think on the tech side, there is a lot of opportunity that we have to try and cover at the earliest. And it means creating our in-house expertise and not simply relying on different partners and vendors to get that expertise for us to be able to execute it flawlessly. So and hence that means building a team, building our own team, a big roster of team which is full of coders, programmers, machine learning experts, engineers, product experts,
UI
data
experts.
scientists, UI experts. We've all started doing that in the last couple of months now. But I think
recent as that?
as recent as that, we've always been doing it. But now in the last 1 year, we've all realized the criticality
of this
and the significance and the importance of making it happen.
Correct. So you are now shifting from being a streaming content delivery service to a solid technology platform. Is that
so
how you're looking at it?
I'm just saying, I don't feel happy to know that I'm a content first streaming service. That doesn't give me joy.
You're a tech platform.
I'm inherently a tech platform which today is offering content, right? When you think of 2 billion users of Facebook, you're not thinking of Facebook being a social media platform. When you're thinking of 100 million plus Prime subscribers, you're not thinking of Amazon being an e-commerce organization. When you're thinking of 2 billion plus odd users on YouTube and Google, you're not only thinking of it as either a search giant or a video giant, okay? The world is moving towards an arena, towards an era, towards a direction where today you might be doing something, okay? Your USP might be something within a certain category or within a certain industry. But if you have a highly sticky, highly engaged user base, your ability to cross-sell is humongous. Right? Case in point, in India today, Flipkart, which was an e-commerce platform, that is now gradually moving towards video. Okay. True. Amazon, which started off as an e-commerce platform, that moved to video. TikTok,
which is standing on its own.
Yeah. TikTok, which started off in the video, in China, it has pivoted towards e-commerce. So everyone is increasingly building an ecosystem play. And hence, if that is the case, then the entire journey is of becoming a tech first, but more importantly, a user first platform.
Right.
Yeah.
Quick reminder, you're tuned into the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot Avod. Stay tuned. You didn't tell me what is the kind of numbers you're looking at in the coming year.
So, sorry. So this year, we are going to be ending with almost a 2x increase in our overall monetization from a Avod business point of view. For me, from a business standpoint, I think 2020 is going to be a year when we will hope to become the first Avod platform in the country and possibly in the world to achieve profitability.
Wonderful. I really wish you well. I think it's going to really help the industry. Amazing. And it is my belief that Avod is the future. Because if you look at the high costs of content and everything else in trying to convert the TVOD mentality subscriber into a recurring and continuously engaged paying subscriber, then you do need the advertising revenue more perhaps than the subscription revenue?
Look, it's a
plateau.
Look, it's a funnel. Okay, you would get a huge aggregation of users coming in through your Avod route, and then few of them who are willing to pay, who have the ability to pay,
You'll upsell.
who have the propensity to pay, you will upsell, and you would give them more and better.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Having
Right.
said that, I think, and if I have to drive towards that profitability, I think one of the big things which I have to start doing, and in fact, I don't talk about it at length, but something,
now.
yeah,
Yes, tell
yeah,
me.
we'll talk now. But something which we have already started doing internally is even moving away from the metric of measurement being monthly active users or daily active users or even watch time, but the new currency that we are chasing is CLTV, consumer lifetime value.
Correct.
How much value I am deriving from each and every user. Okay. And what is the cost that I'm incurring
In
to
acquiring that.
service that user.
Correct.
Cost with respect to content, cost with respect to marketing cost with respect to streaming cost. So the interesting thing is that for every view that a consumer views on my platform, there is a CDN cost, there is a delivery cost, there is a platform cost, there is a marketing cost.
Yep.
There is a cost across various facets.
Right.
And my path to profitability can only happen if my CLTV is more than the cost of servicing
And everything
that
put together.
consumer.
Correct. Quick reminder, you're tuned into the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot AVOD. Stay tuned. So where are you going to get your next set of users from?
Let's look at it from the macro numbers in this country today. Okay. India is a prized possession. Why? Because there are today 500 million internet users, right? Which is 500 million users, and they are increasingly engaging more and more with digital platforms, spending more time on these platforms, and obviously creating more inventory opportunities for me.
Right.
The interesting piece is not just about this 500 million users, but about the 750 million users who are still offline.
Absolutely.
If it's a 1.3 billion user population in this country, okay, what will it take for me to start getting some share of the pie of those 750 million users who have not even moved into the online space? And hence, I look at it from two lenses. One is within this online digital viewer category, video viewer category, 500 million. If today I'm at 100 million, okay, how do I continue to build better content, seamless product, absolutely robust technology, more monetization potential through our initiatives like Voot Studio, measurement on a platform, etc., so that this 100 out of 500 million today, okay, which is say about 20-25%, what will it take for me to reach to 50%? Okay, that can anyway pretty much come from your tier 1 markets and few top of the tier 2 and tier 3. But the journey of the 3/4 of the billion population that is still not moved to online will essentially come from this long tail of markets that are there in tier 2, tier 3
And the back of beyond.
And the back of beyond. And the rural markets who will start slowly tasting this huge madness about watching content at my own pace, at my own time, at my own place, at a convenience.
And at a cost I can afford.
At a cost that I can afford, absolutely.
On a phone I can afford.
On a phone that I can afford, right?
Yeah.
So we need to keep on doubling on a lot of efforts for the category 1 of consumers, and of course doing a lot more category creation job for the category 2 consumers.
And to continue,
Yeah.
and at no cost, to be paid to the content creator if it's AVOD.
If it's a.
That's really, you've got all your bases covered. Quick reminder, you're tuned into the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot AVOD. Stay tuned. So let's quickly discuss a bit of the industry now, Akash. There are around 30 plus OTT platforms still, but we know that many will fall by the wayside and shut shop. View was the last one that bid farewell to India. What is your view on this? How many OTT platforms do you expect will remain standing in India, and in around how much time? Guesstimate.
Let me take a stab at it differently. Okay. I think 35, 39, 40 OTT platforms for a diverse market like India is actually a very, very small number.
Really?
Very, very small number.
Okay.
Yeah. We have consumers in this country which can be segmented by languages, by different content needs, by different content choice, by the genre of content that they wish to see, how much they can afford to pay for that content and how much they cannot, by 2G, by 3G, by 4G. There are these humongous ways through which you can segment the consumers, right? On TV, we have already seen that. We have seen hundreds of TV channels, and not every channel is trying to reach out and tap into a similar set of consumers. You have a Colors Bangla that's only tapping into the Bengali audiences. You have a Colors Kannada that's only tapping into the Kannada audiences. You have MTV Beats that's only tapping into the music enthusiast, right? So it is about how you segment your audiences and how sharp your segmentation has been. Okay. I think one of the problems possibly that has happened in our OTT category currently,
people trying to do everything for all.
We have all been trying to be everything for everyone.
Right.
Okay. And I think this madness around consolidation and stories about VC funds being brought down and a lot of consolidation stories that we are hearing in India and globally, okay, has actually shaken up everyone. But I think this shake-up is also good for a lot of these OTT platforms and these businesses to realize that if you do not segment your target audience, okay, then you're not going to be in this business anymore. That's story number one. Story number two is you cannot be in this business if you're only in this business for the bloody optics of it. If you are trying to play a valuation game, or if you think that you should be in this business because you should be in the business because that's a right thing to do
and good to be in,
and good to be in this category, to be seen to be having a presence in an OTT category. Because OTT very clearly, and Pavan, you're aware of it, it is the category which has become the darling of the masses, the advertisers, the trade fraternity. Everyone keeps on talking about OTT.
Why aren't we doing it?
Right, absolutely. So we all want to be seen to be available and present in this category. But then that's a wrong way to see it. You got to be in the business to make a bloody business out of it. And I go back to the point that I made earlier, which is if you're not in this business to drive value, to drive profitability, then sooner than later it's going to come to bite at your back.
Correct.
Okay. And there are a lot of platforms who are just simply there in this category, in this business for the valuation of it.
Correct.
Okay. A lot of your billboards on the Western Express Highway, a lot of platforms are playing the valuation game. I'm not here to play the valuation game. I'm here to build a strong, robust business that drives profitability consistently.
And sells on delivery, not perception.
Perception.
Right. I know you've been doing that and doing that really well, Akash. So,
Don't try.
Okay, Akash, my view is that it's actually going to be AVOD or advertising-backed video on demand that will be the biggest growth engine to unlock the true potential of video streaming platforms in India, if you ask me. What is your view on this, considering you head the AVOD part of the Voot business? Speak from the India perspective, from the industry sector perspective. This is for youngsters who look to you for learning and advice. And, I just want to know your insights and how do you plan to take AVOD, Voot AVOD, to the pinnacle which you're aiming for?
Over here, let me not talk from a Voot point of view. Let me talk from an industry point
That's
of
right.
view.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Let's just see some numbers first. Okay. we are talking about 300-400 million video users currently in this country.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's projected to go up to say 500 million base by the end of this year. That's on the AVOD side. We are looking at about hitting by end of next year close to $1 billion AVOD market. Okay, which is close to about 7,000 CR odd market.
Quick reminder, you're tuned into the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot AVOD. Stay tuned.
On the AVOD side, we are looking at about hitting by end of next year close to $1 billion AVOD market. Okay, which is close to about 7,000 CR odd market. In contrast, we have SVOD, right? Which currently today stacks up to say 10 million unique subscribers, giving you 20 million odd subscriptions.
Right.
Next year, you're going to have actually when I say next year, I'm talking about 2020. The year has just about started. By the end of this year, we hope 20-25 odd million unique subscribers, which will give you about 40 to 50 million unique subscriptions. Okay, so the scale of AVOD and SVOD, okay, is huge. AVOD is largely about masses, youngsters, 18 to 24, 25 to 35, as affordability, accessibility and availability increases. Okay, this acceleration of conversion from the offline world to the online world will happen via the AVOD route. Okay, everyone will first try out watching content for free. A fraction of those users who possibly want to watch absolutely premium, high class, high cost content, want to watch it ad free, okay, want to watch it with TV, lot of those specific features, and who have the ability to pay will eventually start moving into the SVOD.
So content costs are not going to come down.
Absolutely. In my understanding, content cost, I don't see any abatement of content cost in the near future.
And so therefore the only place where you can possibly cut some costs, or let's say save costs, would be on the marketing side? Possibly.
And
how would you approach that for AVOD? I think AVOD requires more marketing budgets right now.
Yeah. Firstly, I think it's a very, very good question, and this is something that we all try and solve every day when we sit in our meeting rooms. There is the one thing is about getting lot of users. Right. Okay. The thing that we are now at some level focusing on is how do you get these users to keep on coming back to my platform? Okay. Let me give you retention. Let me give you an example. I have had close to 150-180 million gross downloads. Okay. In my lifetime. Okay. Out of which on the app, out of my 100 million users, 30-40% will be app users. So you can very clearly see, if I only keep on focusing on spending money to acquire users, okay, this is in the industry a bloody leaky bucket. Users will come, users will go. Users will come, users will go, and you cannot stop that because obviously still in this country there is a storage capacity for keeping multiple apps on your phone.
Right.
Yeah. So people, depending on which platform, on which OTT I'm going to be watching today's content, this week's content, I'm going to only keep that OTT app on my phone. Now, if that is the case, then I need to plug in that hole. Right. Okay. And the only way I can plug in that hole is by constantly focusing on getting great quality content and spending a lot of money on the product and the tech side. Okay, because if that happens, then whoever comes in will then stay within that bucket and will not move away. Okay, so this is what we very clearly see on the AVOD side, and there is no abatement of growth on the AVOD category. I think something that we keep on talking about, even from an e-commerce platform point of view at an industry level, is that while there might be 100 million plus transacting consumers on e-commerce, but active monthly for the entire category is close to about 40-50 million, right? So 100 million users may have come once in a year or once in the last 6 months, but not everyone is coming every month, right? And that is what at least I'm certainly not going to be focusing on at Voot. And I really hope that none of the platforms in the AVOD category is focusing on that either, right? You cannot be focusing on just on getting a user just once in a month.
You'll be burning your
to be
rupees.
able to tick that box.
Correct.
Okay. You want the users to keep on coming back to your platform, right? And that's why actually, Pavan, one of the big nuggets, one of the big data points that we are constantly looking at is this thing called DAU to MAU ratio.
Quick reminder, you're tuned into the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and my expert guest today is the young master Akash Banerji, business head of Voot AVOD. Stay tuned.
Pavan, one of the big nuggets, one of the big data points that we are constantly looking at is this thing called DAU to MAU ratio.
The percentage.
Daily active to monthly active.
I think Facebook started this.
Yes. So
years ago.
In fact, Facebook was one of the platforms that started off a couple of years back, where they used to talk about how do we get more users to come in every day.
Okay.
This was started by TV channels. TV channels, when they launched their drama shows, it initially, if you remember 10-15 years back, it started with once a week. Then it became twice a week.
I was part of Sony.
Absolutely.
When we launched it. I didn't see idea on my shows.
Then it became 5 times a week.
Yes.
Then there was this time when it was 7 days a week, because
people kept coming back.
So that people keep on coming back every day.
Correct.
So the rules of the game in the media business, they have not changed. The rules haven't changed.
It's the pipe that's...
Yes. We are fundamentally, anyone operating in the media business is in the business of driving habit.
Right.
And that's it. Everything else is riffraff.
Right.
If you're able to drive habit of the consumers on your platform
and increase the number
and
of
increase
those
and then drive
consumers.
absolutely and keep on increasing the scale of those of that habit of your so-called user base, then you have a story to tell. Right? And having said that, I think SVOD as a business model will only continue to see great momentum, because look, the country is also getting richer, is getting more prosperous. We have discretionary income. We all want to spend money on things that will please us, and content now has become a part of our lives.
It's becoming a necessity.
It's become a necessity. It's not something I wish I could see. Every waking hour, you're thinking of opening your phone and checking out the next video.
Making mental appointments.
Yes, absolutely. Right? So that is the case. If that is such a huge necessity, if you have to partake some money, apportion some money on watching that content in a very, very seamless manner, there will be these set of consumers who would do that.
And it's high on your priority.
Yeah, absolutely. Having said that, I think the challenge will be if there are multiple subscription platforms. How many subscriptions will a consumer end up paying for, right? In US, there was a price arbitrage.
Okay.
You were paying a hefty amount of money to your cable guy, right? Suddenly came in Netflix that started offering great quality content at $12. Okay, you add on one more, Amazon Prime, $8-10.
Correct.
However you add, it would still be lower than what you were paying to your cable guy.
Correct.
In India, the story is different.
It's
the other way around. So if you're paying $300 to your cable DTH guy, and if you have one SVOD platform that charges $300 every month, then how the hell can you afford to pay for 2-3 additional subscriptions?
Which is why I was asking
you.
And hence, it will get whittled down.
And hence, I feel that's a reason partnerships, your telco partnerships, your other partnerships become a very important route to do that. Even your Geo STB, the set-top box, is again a way through that, where it's aggregating all the content and you have different packages, okay, and you're making that content available.
Correct.
And I feel what this will eventually lead to is that the ARPU at an industry level is only going to go up, okay, but I don't know whether ARPU at a platform level is going to go up or not. But right,
You'll just talking absolutes.
yes, I as a user will certainly be paying more this year than what I paid for last year.
Correct.
But whether individual platforms are making more money for me is a thing where the jury is still out.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting conundrum to be solved. I think if we all had answers for everything, then what's the fun, man? Yeah.
You don't seem to be the kind of guy who stumbles across answers.
but
I
I'm
think you
enjoying
create your own.
But I'm enjoying it. I think we all need to create our own destiny.
Right.
We need to do things that work for us.
Wonderful. So thank you ever so much, Akash Banerji, business head, Voot advertising video platform or Voot AVOD, for being on the Master's Voice, the podcast series of Mediabrief.com.
Pavan, seriously, I think the work that you do, Mediabrief.com. I have been interacting with you so closely for the longest time. Just the sheer expertise, just the sheer knowledge and experience that you bring to the table for not just youngsters but even for professionals like us. I think it is something that we all look for, and I could just hope that there are more platforms like you guys who are doing something similar.
As generous as a wonderfully accomplished professional. Akash Banerji, ladies and gentlemen, business head, Voot advertising video platform or Voot AVOD. So that's it for this episode of The Master's Voice on Mediabrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla, and I thank you very much indeed, Akash, for being here, and you, our listeners, for listening to this very insightful conversation, for me at least, and I hope that you too have found a lot of nuggets and actionable insights to take to your workplace and to your entire understanding of AVOD, of the streaming business in India, from this truly remarkable, veteran, accomplished young professional who is a very key part of the Hotstar launch team and has actually launched and taken Voot to the heights where it is now. So more strength to you on your way to number one, Akash.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.